Hi, it's Nikki from Change Frame here, and I'm talking through some real life scenarios and case studies of how Change Frame can have a positive impact in your life. So today I'm talking about Julie. And Julie arrived to the Change Frame process with the change of I need to reduce stress. So this was her why, this was the outcome that she wanted to achieve. So as with all participants in Change Frame, the first step that we take is to really look at that real why and just make sure that really clarifies and hits the nail on the head of what it is you're looking to achieve. So for Julie, it was around lowering stress, not feeling so anxious and highly strung all the time, and like she was sort of always chasing her tail and trying to get on top of things. So she actually had arrived saying, I need to start meditating and doing yoga and employing some de-stressing strategies in my life. So in going through the process, we just spend a little bit more time looking at that real why. So rather than simply focusing on, it's just about reducing stress, what we really did with Julie was actually look at what are some of the triggers and the situations in particular where that stress was happening for her. So, and through that deeper questioning, what became clear for Julie was that the stress was really attached to when she was not following through on things that she had said she was going to do. So we actually made that clearer. So the change that Julie was wanting to achieve was around following through. I want to enjoy that sense of accomplishment and completion and achievement when I follow through on the things I say I'm going to do. So the irony in all of this, and it struck me, and thankfully Julie saw this through her own eyes, was in her absolute rabid quest to reduce stress, Julie had gone on, I need to start meditating, I need to start doing yoga, I need to get all zen and do these things that stop stress. And when she wasn't managing to do those things, guess what? Julie was getting stressed. So the very strategies that she was previously attempting to employ to achieve her outcome of less stress were almost the very thing that were creating that situation in the first place. So again, taking that time to just take a breath and step back from the situation and say, well, actually, what is this stress looking like for you? How's it manifesting? Let's get really specific on what this outcome is that you're looking to achieve. So for Julie, it was a sense of accomplishment and achievement and follow through. So in doing that, we actually then, moving through to the stop, starts, continues, looked at what are the things that Julie's looking to start that she's not managing to actually accomplish. So what are these things that if she was able to tick them off her to-do list or high five herself in saying, yeah, I've managed to include that as my daily habit. And there were a number of things that Julie was looking to achieve. So one of them was around exercise, but she was also conscious of how little time she was spending with the people she cared about. So she had a really close-knit circle of friends who had children, and she felt like she wasn't really making enough time for those people. So we've all of a sudden moved almost completely away from what her first original real why was, and really getting specific. What Julie really wanted to achieve was opening up the space and the time in her life to follow through on the things that bring her joy and that she wants to commit to doing. So simply stepping back from the situation and breaking it down to more specific little chunks and I guess just little goals that she was looking to achieve, we could actually start to identify some specific actions. In doing that, the first response is often, I've tried for so long and I just can't do this. So the tack we then take is to go, well, what are the barriers? What are those things that are blocking you from doing what you need to do? And we could strip through them. For Julie, she was prioritizing other people's needs ahead of her own, and in doing that was deprioritizing these things that were important to her. So one of the things that Julie identified is she needs to learn to say no. And that in itself is quite a stressful thing for Julie. So there's just this constant theme of stress and almost doing things to avoid stress that in and of themselves bring about stress, but then not doing them is equally stressful. So she really was feeling really lost in the wilderness in terms of this situation. So breaking it down to those specifics of what were the little things that she could do to help start to get on top of this feeling of stress. We mapped out the action plan and we looked at all of the things. What were the things that she could leverage that came easy for her, that she could really get that sense of accomplishment was what was going to help motivate her and drive her on to do the next thing. So we looked at those things that were easy for her to do. We looked at the things that she was struggling to actually follow through on, and what were the reasons, some of the potential triggers behind why, and what were the things that she could do about them. So saying no was one of those things. The other thing that was important for Julie was part of her problem is she was trying to do everything at once for everybody. Hence the feeling of overwhelm and just completely smothered by the stress of the situation. So part of Julie's action plan was to really focus on just doing one at a time. So what's that one thing that if I focus on, everything else becomes easier or not important? And for Julie to just focus on actually accomplishing one thing, whether it took her a day, a week, or a month, to actually start to incorporate that into her own routine or start to make that more of her natural response, then that would reduce the size of the elephant she's trying to eat. So again, simply actually putting all of these thoughts out of the head onto the post-it notes, onto the change frame, working through them through the reality check, and then breaking it down to really minuscule little actions that Julie could start taking today, really gave her that sense of, which ironically is what she thought she was going to get from the meditation that she couldn't actually ever find the time to do. So it's funny how when you really look at what it is, the outcome that you want to achieve is that feeling of space and openness and peace. There are multiple paths to that destination, and the important thing is that you find the path that will take you there. So I'd encourage you to pop over to my website if you want to know a little bit more about Change Frame. There's a free ebook there when you sign up for to my mailing list. Also, if you're really game, I'd love to see you in a Change Frame workshop. So details are there on the website of the workshops. And in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.